It's a Thursday right here on the Sports Grid Network. It's time for the early line rise and grind. Donnie Rightside along with Joe Raineri. And as you know, the next 2 hours, the hottest topics absolutely have you covered, which includes in the association last night. We're even and leaving. Back to San Antonio. OKC comes away with a victory, 122-113 over the San Antonio Spurs, which also covered the -6.5 that we needed. Joe Raineri told you yesterday, little matinee action. Go ahead and grab those Seattle Mariners on the money line yesterday. That also cashed in. By the way, did you know your boy DRS is 2-1 this week? But Joe Raineri, a perfect 3-0 as we head towards a thirsty Thursday right here. The topics will flow. The picks will come in hour number 2. And away we go, Joe. Let's put it on for the people.
Excited, Donnie. It's a good week so far for us here. The picks are rolling in. We're seeing the board well, and, we're back at it again tonight. Another game 2 in the NBA and a game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals on the ice tonight.
Moving fast, as we like to say. Well, maybe not as fast as an Eagles defensive lineman clocked in at 135, but that's another story we'll get to a little bit later. It's time to get your caffeination going. Why? You might need it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We're headed towards a holiday weekend, Joe. What's that hot topic today? Delivered hot and fresh.
I laughed when I saw this yesterday, Donnie. Let's talk about the inevitable collapse of the Live Golf Tour and maybe the delusion of one of its biggest stars right now. Because we all know that Live Golf is on life support and it's about to come to an end sooner rather than later. But we also know there is only a handful of guys that the PGA Tour would actually want to come back and play on their tour. And, Bryson DeChambeau is certainly one of them. Except that we just learned he may not want to play professional golf anymore. Well, at least that's what he says. Because according to a recent podcast, he is going back and forth debating whether to be a content creator or a professional golfer. Let me see if I can help you with this one here, Bryson. I would stick to being a professional golfer because without the PGA Tour, nobody is going to give a crap about anything that you put on YouTube. This revelation comes, by the way, at a time where his golf game seems, shall we say, completely lost. He has now missed a cut in back-to-back majors. We watched CBS make him a focal point of their featured groups at Augusta, only to watch him never hit a green and bogey his way around the golf course and, of course, miss the cut. He did exactly the same thing last week at the PGA Championship. And now we hear he is undecided if he wants to jump through hoops to be welcomed back to the PGA. The more I think about this, the more I think we should really give Brooks Koepka more credit. Because Brooks had the foresight to jump ship, make his me a couple with the PGA, and move on with his golf career. Brooks figured it out. But Bryson seems more interested in trying to reinvent a 500-year-old sport by printing out irons, low-degree drivers, and gimmicks that are supposed to complement his strengths. Meanwhile, his biggest weakness remains the fact that inside 100 yards, he's terrible. His short game and his putting is awful. He's obsessed with finding these little marginal gains in equipment rather than fixing, the real golf game. And what is crazy is he has a chance to be the #1 golfer in the world, except he cannot get out of his own way. And now that he seems to have completely lost his golf game, he's out here telling everyone how he might just stick to creating YouTube content. Please, this isn't a negotiation with the PGA Tour, Bryson. They're holding all the cards. You have no leverage. The PGA doesn't need you as much as you need them. But again, that only works because you are one of the best golfers in the world and are playing against the other best golfers in the world. There is plenty of golf content people out on YouTube whose videos we don't watch. You know why? Because they don't play on the PGA Tour. My suggestion would be stop printing out your golf clubs and get back to the putting green and the driving range and winning tournaments. Because you are only interesting, Bryson, if you are actually winning golf tournaments, Donnie. And that is the unfortunate reality of this situation.
You are correct, Joe. We don't want to see, hey, did you catch that latest YouTube video where Bryson DeChambeau tried to set the course record at the local Muni? No. Do you know what we want to see? Bryson DeChambeau at Winged Foot or at Shinnecock Hills trying to break the course record in a major. That's what gets the attention. And also from a perspective of, I want to work on my game. You can only do that on the PGA Tour. How do you work on your game when you're just playing, again, random golf courses on YouTube and interviewing other superstars there? Not going to work. Goes hand in hand. Be a star on the PGA Tour. Oh, wow, you be a star on YouTube as well. That star will fade away quickly because nobody cares. Hey, did you see that birdie I just had on that par 5? No, we don't care about that. You know where that birdie's supposed to come? At the Masters, at Augusta National. Keep it real, Bryson. Just work on your golf game. Get back to the PGA Tour. Everything will be okay, even though you're having a life crisis right now with Live Golf ending. Just the way it is. Great topic to start our Thursday show right here on the early line. Let's get to the early lineup, and here we go. Let's hit it hard right off the bat, Joe. Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to retire after this year. Give me my 1 year, $25 million. Then the Steelers play well, and Aaron Rodgers drags this once again into next May. Does anybody believe that he's done after the 2026 season, regardless of what happens?
Yeah, I think he is. And listen, what's he going to come back and play at 43, 44? I think the bigger question, Donnie, is we got to look at our predictive markets here. True. What is the over-under on the amount of games he actually plays this year? Let's be honest here. Because this would just be priceless if he takes the $25 million and plays in 3 games and gets hurt and we never see him again.
You know, and again, I don't think it's going to be an Achilles, but that calf is going to flare up faster than you know it this year. When you get older, you just stay injured. The constant hits that you take in the pocket, they add up. You're right about this. How many games is he actually going to play? But he will get paid handsomely this year for that one final season in Pittsburgh. Sean McVay, be the bigger man. I'm going to admit that mistake in the golf trade. You say, well, what was that about? Just the way you approached it and the way you traded him, not being upfront, and how to handle the business side of the transaction to go with the personal side here. Wishes he had a do-over. Not to say, Joe, he wouldn't have made the trade, just the way the trade went down.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, you know, water under the bridge here, though, with this. The only thing that matters, the only thing that matters is what do you do this year? Honestly, with your brand new quarterback that you drafted at the first pick in the in your first round pick there. But we'll see how that works out. That's the only thing that matters, Donnie. Win now, everything else doesn't matter.
Even and back to San Antonio. Why OKC comes back in game number 2, gets a victory and a cover yesterday, 122-113. Hamstrings were popping left and right on both sides, but we got a series now, Joe. Back to San Antonio we go.
Yeah, I mean, SGA came up big there. A heavyweight fight. I mean, that's what this is going to be, Donnie. Back and forth they go. This is must-watch television, Donnie. It really is at this point. And, you know, the more I see this, the more I think maybe even the finals might be a pretty good heavyweight fight as well.
How about this? Maybe the finals will be played overseas, but you know what the NBA finals or the NBA is trying to do? Let's play more games overseas in the regular season. Nobody asked for, but if the NFL can make money, let's be a copycat league and do it as well.
Oh, the fact that they're sending the Pelicans is fantastic.
Yeah.
Send the Pelicans over there. Nobody will ever want to play basketball in France again. That's fantastic. Send them. Send them by all the... Don't send Wembayama or anybody that has some sort of connect. No, send the Pelicans. I love the idea.
Go Tigers. Ed Orgeron back at LSU as an assistant coach and a head recruiter, just where he belongs.
LSU is just, they are a piece of work. They are digging it all up, man. The governor said, I don't care, win at all costs. Even the baseball team sucks this year, Donnie. The governor is going out of his mind right now. So, yeah, they're going to bring back everybody who got away with years of skirting the system.
Joey Chestnut went to an Indiana bar, had too much to drink, slapped the guy in the head, winds up arrested and on probation, but he's going to try to win another hot dog competition coming up on July 4th here. And, of course, Bryson DeChambeau with that hot topic Joe talked about. The hot topics, they continue to flow. It's the early line in the morning right here on the SportsGrid Network. Spread lines that you need to know for tonight's action, and we start in the association. I do love the fact that you get Eastern Conference Finals one night, Western Conference Finals the next night. The train keeps going. The Final Four in the NBA. But we take a look tonight. The Cleveland Cavaliers once again in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Game number one. They should be up 1-0. They should be trying to win another game to really put the pressure to the New York Knicks. But an absolute meltdown in the fourth quarter of game number one, which saw the New York Knicks go, hey, James Harden, we're going to beat you blind over the final parts of the fourth quarter. And they did that repeatedly and came away with a win and also a cover in overtime. We'll do it again tonight in game number two, Joe. 8 o'clock tip time tonight. That line opened up at 6.5. I'm looking across the board right now. It's still 6.5. I look at the total, 216.5, up slightly from the opening number. A must-win game you would feel for the Cleveland Cavaliers after a letdown in game number one. Or, Joe, was that adrenaline dump in game number one going to catch up to the Cavaliers and get smoked in game number two? Let's head to the Garden tonight, and I need a spread line from you.
Well, I mean, the reality is, Donnie, if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you would have rather have lost that game by 50 points than actually lose it the way that you lost it there, because that was just embarrassing. And listen, I think we all thought coming out of a game 7 that the legs were going to give way at some point. We just didn't expect the legs to give way and James Harden in the final 7 minutes of the game. But Cleveland was competitive. So you have to ask yourself here, do they have enough? Have they shown enough to be able to say, you know what, we're going to bounce back? Or did New York finally shake off the rust in the fourth quarter and show you exactly what they've been doing all postseason long, which is take it to another level offensively? And when they do that, they look unbeatable. I don't think this line is moving. I think 6.5 is what you're going to see, is what you're going to get. I find the total interesting because 214.5 is an open. It's already been bet up, but I'm seeing all the tickets and money on the under, and yet this thing continues to push upward. I think the over is not a bad look. I agree with it. I think we're going to get some points from both these offenses here. I think that's it. This could be the first one to 120 wins this game, Donnie.
Yeah, it should be a fun one in the Garden tonight. And again, you want to get that victory for the Knicks to go back to Cleveland 2-0. But boy, it does hurt, as Joe said. You were supposed to win game number one with a 20-plus point lead in the fourth quarter. You got to close that game out. We'll see what happens tonight if they have any ill effects from that game. Game number one tonight, Joe, in hockey down there in Carolina. How about this? The Montreal Canadiens and the Carolina Hurricanes. Monster favorite across the board. You see the graphic, minus 196, Joe. I'm seeing 200s and minus 205s now permeating the marketplace, and the total still sits at 5.5. Carolina is the heavy favorite. Montreal, long series in the past, and Carolina seems like they haven't played in weeks, Joe. What's the spread line tonight for this one?
Well, that's mostly because they haven't played in weeks, Donnie. And, you know, here we go again. Another one of these situations where you've got a team coming off a game 7, their second game 7 of the playoffs here, Donnie. Montreal doesn't like to do anything, apparently, in 5 games, 4 games, 6 games. Nope, they want to play 7-game series. And now here the Hurricanes have been like, okay, you guys ready? Like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Well, you're heading to Carolina now to take them on. And I got to tell you, Donnie, this is going to be another one of these situations where Montreal likes to play physical. Montreal likes to play fast. And that might work early in this game. But I just ultimately think that Carolina is going to stifle them, play Carolina kind of hockey, which is, you know what? You're not crossing center ice. Sorry, you're not going to get a ton of shots on goal. It's not going to happen. So I do think that Carolina will ultimately win, but I do think Montreal's got a shot early in this game. Dare we say another first period over in this spot here, Donnie?
How about this, Joe? Let's flip it over to baseball. Big-time ballpark, good for pitching here. Take a look at these two pitchers tonight. Spencer Strider taking on Sandy Alcantara. That is the Atlanta Braves in town to take on the Miami Marlins. You look at this line, open up around a minus 140 price point, depending where he's shopping at, as a favorite towards the road team, the Atlanta Braves. So that's come down slightly here. As you see the graphic going to pop up. There it is, minus 136 on the money line and a total of 7.5. The Atlanta Braves, 2 straight games they've won, 34-16, best record in Major League Baseball. And there are the Marlins at 22-28, starting to fall off right now. Losers of 2 games in a row. Strider, Alcantara down on South Beach. Joe, what are we looking at tonight?
I think we're looking at a lot of strikeouts,
Yeah.
Donnie. Call me crazy here. I mean, Strider seems to be getting it back. The velocity, he's getting a ton of swings and misses. You know what you're going to get from Alcantara. He's going to deliver for the Marlins against these Braves here. So, to me, give me another one of those old-fashioned, pitching duels here, just like we had with the Yankees in Toronto yesterday. I'm looking at I've cut this game in half because I don't like the condition of either bullpen, but I do think that maybe an under early in the first 5 is a good way to look, but full game under, I wouldn't hate anybody playing it either.
The Yankees taking on the Toronto Blue Jays today. Rodon going up against Miles. I have the listed pitchers here. Minus 162 is the price on the opening number. You see that graphic? It's actually a little bit higher now. 172s to minus 175s in the marketplace here. And a total that's between 8 and 8.5. Toronto, New York here. Some rain in the forecast as well. What are we looking at for the Jays and the Yanks today?
Yeah, we're also, 8.5, Donnie, we saw moving down to 8s now across the board. Looks like the weather might play a little bit of a role. We had a big delay last night in that game, and it kind of stifled the offenses there a little bit early on. Listen, Rodon is still trying to, shake off the rust, right? So, the Blue Jays are just going to roll out whoever they can get out there, Donnie, they're going to roll out there. It does feel like the under move is interesting this early. I tend to agree with it. Rubber match here. Can the Blue Jays win both, the last 2 games to tie the series at 2-2?
Sparks, Mercury tonight here out on the West Coast. You take a look at that opening number around minus 2.5. Now across the board, you're seeing minus 3.5 in a total of 176.5. Sparks, Mercury, West Coast edition in a triple header tonight in the WNBA. This is game 3, Joe. What are we thinking?
Yeah, this is nice, Donnie, and this is another one of these games where I think both teams are going to score a ton of points here. And both teams don't play a ton of defense. They're going to push tempo. They're going to push the pace. Give me the over here tonight, Donnie. First one to 90 wins.
Next segment, we're going to talk a little Major League Baseball, some videos, some fun. It's what we do. It's the early line on a Thursday morning on the SportsGrid Network. It's Joe and Donnie. We'll be right back. Joe, we talk about opening the show, cups, right? Get a cup of coffee, fill it up. Joe's going to get you ready, get you caffeinated for the show, get you off on your day. But when we talk about cups in sports, sometimes they are lifesavers here. Now, I played baseball, but I was an infielder. I was an outfielder. Didn't really need a cup. When I played Pee-wee football, it was mandatory that you wore a cup. But once you got to high school, nobody was wearing no damn cups here. Sort of slowed you down, was uncomfortable. Here's Terry Francona talking about somebody probably should have used a cup here. Let's hear it.
It hit him kind of in the meat of the inside, hamstring kind of. I mean, man, I'll tell you what, that was scary. Then he ran off the mound. I thought he was okay. And then he got in the dugout and looked like he was dead. And I asked him, I said, hey, man, please tell me you have a cup on. And he said, no. I was like, Chase, I said, I don't even watch a game on TV without wearing a cup. I said, golly, man, you guys are crazy.
We've all been there if you played sports before, Joe. And again, saying, Pee-wee football, you had to wear a cup after that. Like, nobody in the NFL wears a cup at this point. I was a sophomore at Paulsboro High School, Joe, and I was playing outside cornerback, and they ran a toss sweep to the opposite side. Saw the play coming, tracked the running back down from behind, grabbed him around the waist, and sort of hung on. Well, he starts kicking for extra yards, Joe, and that heel caught me in the exact spot you don't want to get caught. I'm telling you, I've had some painful things happen to me in my life. There is nothing more painful than a perfect shot, Joe, to the wrong area.
Yeah, well, football is a little bit different, Donnie, because if if you're on the bottom of a pile as a running back or wide receiver, you'd be amazed on what defensive linemen would be grabbing for. You didn't get. So yes, baseball's a little bit different story, but listen, we've all been hitting the meat before, Donnie. It is not a fun experience there. So Francona wearing a cup, watching a game at home might be the funniest thing I hear all day long here.
That's old school baseball. PCA out here in these streets. By the way, Major League Baseball said, hey, caught you on tape in 4K red-handed. We're going to have to fine you. Just is what it is.
Yeah, well, that's, what a world we live in now, Donnie, right? Remember, the things we used to be able to get away with without, cameras everywhere you turn. But nope, not anymore, Donnie, not anymore. Now everything is fine-tuned and clear-cut. Oh, and by the way, in perfect sound, too.
And by the way, and also PCA, maybe it's getting to his head right now. Great baseball player, giving up Little League inside the park home runs. Let's hear from PCA.
Yesterday and today are like genuinely laughable. I think one thing I can fall back on is that it's never really a lack of focus. But trying too hard and trying to make up for the lack of production that I've, given this team and this city, and, not acting how I should. And I think anything physical usually starts mental, and I think that's just what I'm showing everybody right now. So I just show up and keep pushing, but that can't happen. That kind of stuff, that just can't happen.
Opposing fan bases might see a mark out there to try to get after Joe. Struggling a little bit mentally right now. Get on them, fan bases. Come on.
Yeah, listen, they're going through it right now, the Cubs, and we've been telling you about it, man. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but what goes up, Donnie, will come down. It'll go back up again. The Cubs have too much talent. They'll be fine. Right now, they just can't get out of their own way.
Let's hear from Craig Counsell. Let's go.
Well, this is our job, man. You get an off day, and that's nice. And you get a little break from it. You get a little time to reflect. And then you come out and you got another game to win. And that's the schedule. It forces you to move on.
Move on, people. Win some baseball games. It is a long season. I'm going to skip this next video here, Joe, because I want to save it for the next segment. So let's get right to Ohtani and what the heck he's doing on the mound. You're telling me Ohtani could end up hitting 30 or 40 home runs this season? Started out a little bit slow at the plate, but he's going to pitch to an under 1 ERA. Is this renegotiate your contract, Shohei? Hey, it's time. You should be a $2 billion player. This guy, what he's doing, Joe, filthy for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And Donnie, it could not come at a better time because let's be honest here, the injuries to this rotation and what they're doing, they need a frontline starter. And they got one, don't they?
They do. Retiring jerseys and why it's stupid. Edition next. Topics, Joe. Topics are what we love. Topics sometimes what we get passionate about. I've always been passionate about this topic. So let's start off with a video to sort of give you a little prelude here. Mets rookie Morabito on getting the number 8 jersey for his debut. Roll the clip.
I think you probably heard something about your number 8. What do you know what your new number is going to be tomorrow?
Oh, look at me.
I think 55.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get to choose that number? Or what inspired
I chose 55, yeah. I was just given 8.
Had you even heard of Gary Carter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hall of Famer, legend here. Yeah, and he wore number 8.
Does 55 have any meaning for you?
2 5s is cool.
All right. So we're upset at this point as Mets fans because Gary Carter's jersey was given out to a player coming up here for Major League Baseball. Understand this, 75% of the fan base for those New York Mets probably has no idea who Gary Carter is. And you would say to yourself like, oh, well, it's easy. You show up to the ball game and you look out in the outfield and there's the retired numbers there. Where's Gary's at? Who? Gary Carter's number's retired, right? No, it's not retired. So it's not retired. They gave it to another player. People are upset because it's been frozen for 20 years, but it's not retired. So you can't wear it. But if you do wear it, we're going to be upset. Joe, help me out, please, here.
I have no idea. Are Expos fans upset too? Because really,
Yes,
he was in Expo for a long time before he was a Met. Although to be fair, that was the last time the Mets were actually any good and viable. But at the same time, it seems like why did it take so long to figure this out, Donnie? If it was such an issue, why did it take so long now to realize, hey, that dude's wearing Gary Carter's number, but nobody's worn. Isn't that number supposed to be? It took them a little while in the Mets organization to figure this one out, didn't it?
Well, number one, it's a stupid idea that we come up with. Again, retiring jerseys. Once again, operating teams that you don't expect to be around for the next 200 years. So you retire every number 1 through 100 and you move forward. That's where I get upset with it also. Like, just put a patch on the jersey and say, Derek Jeter's number 2 is retired. Hey, you know what? I'm coming up for the Yankees. I would love to wear 2. Jeter was my favorite player growing up. And you'll wear that number 2 in respect for Derek Jeter with the patch on the arm that said Derek Jeter used to wear this uniform. But here is where I draw the line once again. If that number, Joe, was so important to the New York Mets and their fan base and their franchise, why wasn't it just retired? Then you wouldn't have this controversy. It's frozen. Give me a break. Retire the jersey or don't retire the jersey. And I almost believe like this kid coming up, Morabito. Hey, what'd you feel about when you got number 8? I don't know. Looks like a cool number. Oh, we had to remind you it's Gary Carter's job. Who's Gary Carter again? Give me a quick fill-in. Oh, he played for the Mets. Okay, yes, okay. When I go meet the press, I'll let you know about it. Retire the number or don't retire the number. It's that simple, people. The Mets making errors on the field and off the field. And as a Phillies fan, absolutely love to see it here. Bulldogs and the Wildcats, Joe. Let's flip it over here to college basketball. Gonzaga versus Kentucky. No more. Break it up, boys. Break it up.
Oh, yeah, that's a shame because they were so close to one another. Real rivalry there. Like, come on. Keep breaking it up, NCAA. It's usually Gonzaga and Kentucky, Donnie, were just one of those matchups that we would get in November, right, before really the conference play would come in. It was kind of like, all right, it was a great litmus test for two teams that you knew we're going to be top 10, top 15 in the country. And all right, let's see where we're at here. But now we're doing away with those because nobody can seem to get on the same page either.
And by the way, here's why it doesn't hit as hard, right? If it was a press release that said Michigan, Ohio State aren't going to play anymore. Michigan moved out of the Big Ten. Like, oh, man, I used to watch that game. It meant a lot at the end of the season. 2 good football teams. Understand this. College basketball games in late October and early November, they're put on for TV and mean absolutely nothing. So do we think that people, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to watch Gonzaga take on Kentucky. Who cares? And by the way, I love college basketball. Had no idea this was a game that they were supposed to be playing every year either. Shows how much this tradition blowing up in smoke is. Let's get back over to the WNBA, Joe. Are we worried at this time with Caitlin Clark? Is she too injured, or are we just going to manage her for the rest of the way? And by the way, talking about management, Fever 90-73 over the Fire. Hammered the Fire without Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, we knew that Donnie was likely coming there as they were going to handle it done. Not enough offense, though, by the Fire at all. Kind of embarrassing there. But the Fever, if you're dropping 90 and no Caitlin Clark, maybe things are looking up here. So glass half full, but I have a feeling Caitlin Clark's injuries might be a thing now for a long time moving forward, which is unfortunate, Donnie.
Yeah, their coach, it doesn't even make any sense, the press release there. Just woke up for some stiffness and soreness. It's not the time to take a chance. She's healthy. We're not managing anything, but yet she sat the game out last night. We've all woke up with a sore back, and maybe it is like, hey, don't want to force it here. More important to us down the line. And again, they won easily to improve to 3-2 on the season. 90-73 victory here. I need the graphic up for this next one right here, Joe, because I love food. I love food at arenas, and sometimes I need some questionable foods to be brought up. Now, here's what it says from Food Beast, Joe. The Cleveland Cavaliers and San Antonio Spurs are serving a new deep-fried peanut butter and jelly sandwich called the Crust Crusher during NBA games. Now, I look at this, Joe, and say, where's the peanut butter and jelly? I see maybe some turkey, maybe some roast beef, some Swiss, and maybe a chicken fillet in there, some sort of here, a chicken patty. Where's the PB&J?
Yeah, I see my way into I see my way directly to a bathroom and the bottom of a Tums bottle. That's exactly what I'm looking at there. That is gross on so many levels, Donnie. But like anything else with fair food and everything like that, if you're willing to deep fry butter and eat it, I guess, and Twinkies and everything else, yeah, why not? But you're right. If you're gonna sell the peanut, where is it, Donnie? Where is it in that sandwich?
Yeah. You know what I would rather have, Joe, when you look at that sandwich? Give me a really good peanut butter and jelly. Give me a really good chicken sandwich. Give me a real good turkey and Swiss. Give me a real good roast beef and Swiss. I'll eat all 4 of those bad boys. You know what I don't want? To put them all under one bun and say,
a heart attack.
This tastes good at this point. Come on now. We don't need this. We're making things too hard at this point right now that it doesn't need to be. You know what else you don't want to make too hard here? Anthony Edwards, by saying, we hope we're satisfying the guy, and we hope he doesn't want to trade here. Where are these rumors coming? Is Rich Paul just throwing this out here for no reason to try to get him to come to the Lakers? The Timberwolves' ultimate fear is Anthony Edwards requesting a trade. Now, why is that out there if he hasn't requested a trade yet, Joe?
Well, because somebody's probably looking for a raise, Donnie, and that's how that gets leaked. Where I'm not saying anything, but I do, Giannis has done this for how many years now with the, I will never say I'm leaving Milwaukee, except, yes, but all your people, your handlers, your agent, everyone else will throw it out there. And here we go. Same thing. That's the oldest playbook there is there, Donnie.
That story just doesn't leak out if he never wanted to ask for it. There's rumblings in the room now. Where there's smoke, there's fire. We see where this one is going. And by the way, you play in Minnesota. Like, the Heat are like, why don't you come down to South Beach, man? Warm up a little bit. Who's going to not want to think about that? That's probably what he's doing. Here's where I like the slander starting to come out, Joe, in Dallas. Masai Ujiri said the Mavs need to, quote, build a vision where we all want to work in one direction to build a winning program, end quote here. So does that mean that Jason Kidd was like, I'm running my own program, I'm not listening to anybody, and I don't care what you have to say? Woo, boy. Could we hear a little bit more of the tea leaves here now that he's gone, Joe?
Listen, Donnie, what are the chances that Ujiri pulls off a trade with the Sixers for Nick Nurse?
Yeah.
What do you think? Would you be willing to part with him? Would you make that trade?
Now, if he's very abrasive, I would like that, because you got to get Joel Embiid in line. He's got to show up to shootouts here at this point, shoot-arounds in the morning at this point. So I don't know if I would mind that. But you know what else I don't mind? Getting a cover from OKC last night. Talk about that winner next. You knew you were in for a dogfight yesterday. Game number 2, Western Conference Finals in the NBA, 31-31 at the end of the first quarter, and away we went. A double-digit lead for the Thunder at halftime. Double-digit lead disappears. The Thunder pull away late here to get the victory, 122-113, covering the -6.5 yesterday. We're now even at 1-1. We're headed back to San Antonio. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you know he's only allowed to score between 28 to 35 points. He hits his 30. Wembanyama goes for 21, 17, and 6 in the loss. We got a series now, Joe. Yes, we do.
And listen, it didn't start out well either for OKC. I mean, all of a sudden, they waited, over a month to get Jalen Williams back, and he's out there for 2 minutes, Donnie, and then apparently pulls his hamstring again, and now he was gone. So, J-Will wasn't available for them in that game. Then Harper got hit in the head. He had to be. So it was a physical, great game, and neither team could really pull away from one another. It's going to be a heck of a series. It really, really is. These two teams are clearly the class of what the NBA has got going on right now.
Let's head to the post-game press conference here, Joe, to see what they were saying.
I just have sucked when I get too long of a break. I don't think it's anything other than that. I don't know. I guess I got to do a better job of my breaks, especially during the playoffs. I don't know if it's anything other than that, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it was like 42 seconds left. You hit that midi that you were trying to hit for like 2 minutes straight, and you told the guys, all right, like calm down. You said it explicitly, but calm down. What'd you feel in that moment to tell them that?
No, Jared was yelling at me while I was shooting, and I was just like, bro, I'm shooting. Like, don't distract me. So yeah, that's all I wasn't telling. I was literally just telling Jared to calm down. But that's what great shooters do, like when they're open. So yeah, we hashed it out. Worked out.
I wear my sunglasses at night with a victory in game number 2. Back to San Antonio they go. And do we have more clips here? Let's go. Let's get some more clips in here.
Talked about efficiency offensively, not just being shot making, but shot locations, assist to turnover. What did you make of the efficiency you had on offense generally tonight?
Yeah, we're a lot better, obviously. I thought some of that was just us playing better. We just didn't play a great game there tonight. Some of that stuff, just watching on film, you're sitting there like, if we say nothing and do nothing, we'll just play better. And then I did think we got some fundamentals in the game that are critical against this team, and it gave us some cracks. I just thought the overall flow tonight, rhythm, was really good. Put everybody at advantages. We had our foot on the gas. It was a real positive game in that respect.
Down Fox, then Harper's out. What kind of pressure does that put on the rest of your backcourt in a game like this?
A ton. Obviously this team is as good as anybody at turning you over. So when you're down some of your primary creators and initiators, it causes a little bit of an extra strain, whether that's who to play, what to run, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll just have to be sharper in that area because it's tough, fully loaded against these guys. So we obviously 27 points off turnovers is not a winning formula.
What is that, the lead singer of Guns N' Roses out there right now? Little Axl Rose, voice giving a problem, singing every night. Man, that coach needs what? What's he need, Joe? A couple of some nice green tea or something? Sheesh.
Yeah, you're gonna need something mixing some cough drop. Do something with that. My goodness. But ultimately, pretty good effort.
Yeah, good effort there. 1-1, headed back to San Antonio. Good times ahead here. How about good times in Buffalo? Yeah. They made the playoffs. They gave their fans something to cheer on, and dang, almost advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. But Lindy Ruff, he's the big winner here. 2-year extension there for the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, what's old is new again, right? Good old Lindy. Got it right this time around. Listen, the future's bright for Buffalo. It's good for the NHL. It's, some new blood in here. Nobody thought we'd see the Canadiens in the Eastern Conference Final, but we're going to get that tonight as well.
Now's the time for the Pegula family to raise ticket prices and also then slash payroll and rake in the business here. I'm just kidding. Come on now, Buffalo. Stay with it at this point. Yeah, exactly. Stay long-term. Say it's not viable in Buffalo anymore. I have to move this team somewhere else, maybe even to Quebec, Canada at this point. How about this one, Joe? Cale Makar, one of the best, if not the best defenseman in the NHL. He missed game 1 last night. And you know what happened? Didn't work out well. Vegas Golden Knights go on the road and pick up a victory over the Avalanche in game number 1. You need Makar. And this has to be something serious, Joe, because he got drilled in the previous round here. And that's not one of those things that looks like you just shake it off. It's maybe something more. But in the NHL, we never know officially what anything is until the season ends.
Yeah, no, we don't. And it's unfortunate. Was that
Nathan McKinnon was going to tell you. Yeah, Nathan McKinnon was going to tell you about it, Joe.
Go ahead. Is it coming out? All right, good.
I've just said execution like 5 times. Like, I think that's what hurt us.
There, Joe. Nathan McKinnon just explained to you exactly the injury Cale Makar had.
Yeah, that's wonderful. But really, that's not the story. The story of that game last night was Carter Hart once again standing on his head because it's not like Colorado didn't have a million chances on him in the first period and the second period, but give them credit. They're playing at a different level, and Mitch Marner just had to get out of Toronto, apparently, because he is absolutely a one-man wrecking machine right now in Vegas. I think sent a message to Colorado there. So up 1-0, stealing home ice. That was outstanding last night by the Vegas Knights.
Yeah, Nolan Patrick got drafted number 2 overall by the Philadelphia Flyers. On the day of the draft, everybody in the organization assumed it was going to be Cale Makar. They had a consensus, and Ron Hextall went rogue, picked Nolan Patrick. Nolan Patrick got migraines, never really played in the NHL, and Makar is a superstar. And also, Carter Hart standing on his head for Vegas. That's the Flyers' future superstar goalie, but got himself into trouble off the ice and now plays for another organization. So be it to be a Flyer. Let's continue with the Flyers wave here. Rod Brindamore, former Flyer great. He's on alert, Joe. You got to watch out for this power play for those Montreal Canadiens. Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Demidov, and Hudson, Joe. He's letting his boys know. You better watch out.
I was waiting for a video to pop up. Okay, he knows Montreal is going to come after them, and they are. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, what was Nathan McKinnon explaining that power play for us again? We'll be right back. OTAs have started in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers have their quarterback, well, for at least 2026 here. Let's hear from Aaron Rodgers back in the building with the Steelers.
Aaron, do you believe this could be your last year? Do you even think of that right now? Yeah. As in your last year?
It's official, Joe. It's his last year. He's married. We don't know who his wife is. A man of mystery. That's that Aaron Rodgers. But no mystery on this. He says he's done after this season.
Yeah, Aaron's like, listen, I thought I was done last year, and now, they won't stop calling me and harassing me. So, yeah, it's definitely the last year. But again, we got to find the market on how many games does Aaron Rodgers actually play this year.
That's true, and we'll see if those Pittsburgh Steelers can stay one game above 500. How about do a little bit better that and win an actual playoff game, which is something they haven't done so in quite some time. What are we worried about in the sports industry, Joe? Oh, no, AI and robots taking over. Well, apparently, an Adam Schefter tweet from yesterday, new Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak told reporters that tight end Brock Bowers is, quote, a football robot from heaven. AI already invading there, the Raiders.
Yeah, I would. Kubiak has been game planning. He is going to be an absolute monster. And we all knew how good we knew how good he was in Georgia. We knew what he was going to be. He got stuck with the Raiders and Geno, and then he disappeared. So, yeah, I would imagine he's going to be a big part of that offense moving forward.
Just stay healthy, kid, and absolutely dominate. Yep. And by the way, tight end, the young quarterback's best friend, a damn good tight end who's wide open over the middle. That's Brock Bowers here. Let's talk about Joe Burrow. He's got a couple of really good wide receivers. What's he talking about on this upcoming season?
Sure. I mean, you saw what this roster looked like in 2021, albeit you were young, but that was a Super Bowl roster. Do you think what you see right now from this organization and in that locker room is a Super Bowl roster?
I think this is the most talented roster that we've had since I've been here.
47 away. 48 from breaking.
Doable.
Thanks, Joe.
Great answer.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe Burrow makes a lot of money, needs to stand upright in that pocket. It's got two good wide receivers, but the question sometimes is the defense, but he's telling you this roster's ready to go.
No, what he's telling you is, Joe, is this a Super Bowl roster in your opinion? Well, it's a talented roster. Maybe it's a really talented roster. That didn't answer the question, Joe Burrow. Are you winning a Super Bowl with this offensive line? Yeah, but they're talented. They're very well done, Joe Burrow. Well done.
Exactly, because he knows the way social media works as well. Joe, you told everybody you had a Super Bowl roster. You didn't get there. Obviously, it's your fault because the roster was talented enough. He's like, look, I'm not going to disparage my team here. I got some fun toys I can play with, but it ain't going to matter if our defense gives up 35 a game. Come on, Al Golden. Get it together over there on the defense here. You want to talk about a really good defensive coordinator that's probably not going to be a head coach? Well, maybe Al Golden can work his way through, but that's Brian Flores. Never good when you're always suing your employer, which includes 25 other NFL teams looking for discovery here. Brian Flores and his legal team, boy, they are racking up some hours, no?
Well, I mean, this is just ultimately going to come down to, Donnie, that, okay, if you're never going to give me a head coaching job, then I can assure you, you're all going to pay me like I am a head coach for a very long time. And that's exactly what's going on here.
Yep, there you go. Get that. We'll see if it works out in his favor, if it does or it does not. But the one thing owners like to do is, hey, are you on my side regardless? And if you are, you're going to stick around in the NFL. Same thing with general managers. Boy, that guy had terrible drafts. And the GM wants to go like, the owner was picking these picks, but I got to sit here up here and explain why I picked these bad draft picks. Now he goes, love that guy down there. Keeps the shield a ride for me. That's not what happened with Brian Flores. He's going after the NFL. He's probably going to get paid because of it. Sean McVay. Guy nearly quit coaching after the 2022 season, Joe. After going 5-12 in 2022, the Rams have won 10-plus games in each of the past 3 years. Quote, I was quitting because I couldn't handle the losing.
Right, and then something happened around that time, Donnie. I can't remember what it was. I think they got a player. It escapes me. But, yeah, it's amazing what you can do when you actually have that position, solidified there. Amazing.
Jerry Jones, you ready for this? Wear and tear is a lot less than a night out. He's talking about international travel. I'll tell you what no person has ever said in their life. Whew, after this long week, I'm just looking to take a 14-hour flight, Joe, to unwind.
Yeah, you know what we have said though is like, I need a vacation from that vacation. I can tell you that right now.
Yes.
I need. Now we're back. I need another week off here. So yeah, good luck with that, Jerry.
Let's go to a different time zone, a different place with different food and different hours to be like, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted here. You know what else you want? Hour number 2 coming up next. Hour number 2 kicking off in grand style right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's the early line. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Raineri. It's what we do. We're headed towards a Memorial Day weekend that in the Northeast is going to be terrible weather, but we'll make sure it's heated up and give you all the information that you need to know what's going to happen out there on the basketball court, on the ice, and give you the advice that you need, Joe, because you know what comes up? Kevin Walsh is going to join us in the next segment. We'll have some fun talking about some NBA and some hot topics. A little bit after that's Best Bets. Killing it, slaying it once again this week. We got 2 more ready for you. And then the predictive markets coming up halfway through the hour. A different way to invest as well, Joe. It all goes down in hour number 2.
Yeah, it's got a lot going on here, Donnie. A lot to sort through. And, yeah, the predictive markets are going to be a lot of fun because now we might have a little bit of overreaction here with a couple of games under our belt in the conference finals. So we'll check those numbers out for you.
What has private equity ever done for anybody that was positive? Outside of the people who are in private equity, make a lot of money for themselves. So if anybody knows and says, hey, man, that's a really good sandwich chain franchise. Boy, you can get a really good cheeseburger at this chain franchise. Boom! Sold to a private equity. Ingredients doesn't taste as well as it did last year at this point, and it looks like my burger is a little bit smaller and the salad's a little bit less, and I used to get 5 chicken fingers. Now I only get 4 at this point here. Well, I'm talking also about private equity now in the sports game, Joe, where a former Utah alum and NBA executive, David Checketts, isn't a fan of Utah's historic private equity deal with Otro Capital, quote. So they kind of sold their future. So understand what you know what private equity does. Cash infusion, a few years later, we used to have 6 assistant coaches. Why do we only have 3 now? We had 20 equipment managers. Why only 5 now? Hey, We used to get sneaks every single day. Why only once a week? Welcome to private equity, Joe.
Well, the one thing that we know, and there's not a lot of locks in our business, Donnie, right? But I am fairly certain the lock of the century is private equity is guaranteed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is bury whatever, and I mean whatever business they touch will be ruined when it's all said and done. I think maybe the Portland Trailblazers are owned by private equity. It feels like that is happening, but you take private equity money, you are basically saying bye-bye to your business within 5 years.
You know what the worst part about it is, too, because it's great for now. So let's just say, and I don't know the AD situation in Utah, but let's just say he made that deal and he retires in 5 years. And then the next AD goes, what am I even working with here at this point? Not my fault anymore. This is your problem now. It never ends well. You know it's not going to end well. You take the cash. It's like, hey, man, I'm going to take out a personal line of credit. Give me that $25,000. Hey, that's at 30%. So what? Give me the $25,000. And if I'm paying on this, it hasn't gone down at all. And now it's actually, yeah, exactly. That's private equity. We'll give you some now. Ooh, you're real happy. We're going to take once it's at the end of the rainbow here. And that's what's going to happen here. How about taking and taking some more? That's Aaron Rodgers. He's in his 40s, still playing football for one more year, as he says, with those Pittsburgh Steelers, Joe.
We knew it was coming because they just didn't have any other choice. So, congrats. But again, even that clip that we saw of him when he was asked, like, is this it, Aaron? He was like, yes. Like, I don't even want to be here right now. So it's going to be an interesting year now. No more Tomlin. The Tomlin era is over. But I think Tomlin left for a reason, and I think we're going to see that this year, with or without Aaron Rodgers.
Let's see. I want to hear Tomlin talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers on these telecasts this year. That's what we signed up for. You know what we didn't sign up for Sean McVay was, man, you know what? Sometimes you learn as you go here. Jared Goff, great player here, made a move. Not saying I wouldn't do it again, but the way I went about it, I would change some things on a personal level here.
Yeah, listen, it worked out for both guys. I mean, McVay was always the better coach. He got the right quarterback. He has a ring. Jared Goff throws up a lot of great numbers, plays indoors, hasn't won anything yet. So I think it all landed where it was supposed to land, Donnie.
By the way, they got a lot of really good picks back to Detroit on that. And also, there's basically a throwaway quarterback in Jared Goff who turned out to be their franchise guy. I would say it worked out, as Joe said, extremely well for both sides of the equation here. Now, Detroit hasn't won a Super Bowl, but Detroit used to get their head beaten left and right. And now we're a viable NFL team and a fun team to certainly watch. OKC evens it up, Joe, last night. Now we head to San Antonio. And as Charles Barkley would say, with all those big old women down there, 1-1.
Right, it was fantastic. You know, we learned also, Donnie, that game one was the most watched Western Conference final game in the history of Yes, so I can't imagine what happened last night.
Joe, here, September is coming quickly here, which means the new big data profile here of those Nielsen ratings, we're going to have the 1 year overs where it's like, okay, we're not, but then again, they probably will juice it for the next 5 years, which is going to be incredible. But just keep those same metrics, because I want all of these people to understand, Joe, with that as we talk about it, where, oh my God, what happened to sports? Because it goes both ways. Everybody in the United States, Joe, just didn't wake up this year and be like, sports, great, watch them all the time, never watched them before. And in 1 year go like, why isn't anybody watching sports? Just keep an eye on that equation right now. The NBA also, Joe, goes, with the ratings so high, that means they want more basketball in Europe. Send a couple teams over to Europe a couple times now, and eventually we'll move a franchise to Europe because we think we can make more money.
Yeah, and what better ambassador than the New Orleans Pelicans? I mean, just fantastic. Send them there and turn people off to basketball for the rest of the time. Love it, Donnie. I think it well thought out there, Adam Silver. Well done.
Here's what I need the NBA to do as well. Say, like, you know what? All right, it's a long trip there. Wemby, we're going to sit these games out here to give you a rest. Or how about, Zion, if you're still down there, Pelicans? Take these days as those rest days here and get you back into the States. Ed Orgeron, how about that name? Won a championship with LSU. He's back with LSU as a head recruiter and an assistant coach here. Easy Ed back in the Bayou. Go Tigers.
Yeah, no, and I love the fact that they're trying to, clean up their image because we all know Ed O had just what a absolute stellar reputation. He had no cheating, no breaking the rules at all. So LSU is about to get sanctioned over the next couple of years, Donnie, in a way I think we have not seen in a long time in the NCAA.
Exactly. Those guys will be all out of town by the time any of those sanctions even try to hit here. Talk about hitting. Joey Chestnut walking in the bars, slamming beers, and slapping patrons.
Gotta love it. Maybe he's going from the professional eating tour to a little slap fighting. What do you think? Maybe he's just auditioning there. Wonder if any hot dogs were involved in this fight, though, Donnie. That's what I want to know.
It's true. By the way, Joey Chestnut does have a YouTube channel. Maybe Bryson DeChambeau can do a collab, as the kids like to say, with Joey Chestnut, because apparently he thinks, you know what? This golf thing is really fun, but it's even more fun on YouTube, and I'll be just as popular if I never play golf again. Interesting career choice, Joe.
Yeah, no, Bryson. That's not how it works. You're only interesting because you play professional golf. The minute that goes away, so does your YouTube views. So, yeah, Bryson, it's not leverage. If you think you're going to leverage and because you just want the PGA Tour to roll out the red carpet and welcoming you back, it's not going to. You need them more than they need you, my friend.
You know what the best version of Bryson was, Joe? COVID Bryson that said, I'm just going to lift as heavy as I can, eat as much as I can, and swing as hard as I can. Bring that Bryson DeChambeau back at this point, because the golf we're getting out of this guy right now, it ain't happening here. Maybe he just needs to refocus, and that refocus does not include a YouTube channel here at this point right now. But you never know. He could, by the way, next year, is he a full-time PGA golfer, Joe? What do you think?
I think, yes. You never know with Bryson. I mean, maybe he prints out his own tour. I don't know. I mean, he's just stick to one thing, Bryson. Making putts,
barnstorming,
driving greens. Come on, be realistic here.
We might even need to go to Q school how bad he's playing. Kevin Walsh, Game Time Decisions. Up next. It's a Thursday edition, hour number 2 of the early line, on the verge of a great Memorial Day weekend. There's nobody who watches more Indy 500 action than our next guest. It's Donnie Rightside, Joe Raineri, and Kevin Walsh. Indy 500 this weekend, Kevin, coming up along with your plans. By the way, I haven't talked to you a lot about wrestling either. Any big pay-per-views or anything we need to look forward to this weekend in wrestling or not?
Local, Queens. Got to make the move back home.
Hammerstein? Hammerstein?
No, it's like Arthur Ashe adjacent. I think it's in like a different court, but yeah. So right over there in Queens, pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, Sunday.
There you go, Joe.
Love
Double or Nothing Sunday. Talking about Double or Nothing here in the NBA last night. I went ahead. I got burned on Monday, Kevin. I had a great public fade, I thought, here. I was going to take OKC, and the San Antonio Spurs won that game. Now, I came right back and said, I'm going to go against the public again. Took OKC in a heavyweight match last night, which ended up 122 to 113, Kevin. And you know what's always undefeated? Coming back and hurting yourself with hamstring injuries. Talk about injuries here to OKC and San Antonio. What you saw last night, Kevin, and more importantly, what are we going to get out of the series moving forward?
Yeah, I think for Jalen Williams specifically, like your first game back, you end up playing 37 minutes. That probably wasn't supposed to go that way. Also for Dylan Harper, right? I mean, in the college game, it's not like he was playing, by the way, all 40 games right at Rutgers. That was part of the reason that team didn't make the tournament. You're now, 69 regular season games. He's played in the postseason up until this point. 13. So he's now 82 in, and but in the 81st game, he played 47 minutes. It was very apparent to me the second we hit that first overtime that the battle between Oklahoma City and San Antonio was really going to open the door for the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference. I don't think it matters for the Cavs, and I think you saw that in game number 1. I don't think the Cavs are winning that series. I think the Knicks can, and I think the Knicks might find themselves again with a week off while Oklahoma City and San Antonio are having an all-time classic series, and that matters. It just absolutely does. As Jalen Williams, while being an all-NBA caliber player and Harper just a rookie, the Harper absence would feel bigger in my eyes, especially because we don't know about Fox's health. All of a sudden, San Antonio is going to have to probably shrink that rotation just a little bit or ask more of Fox than maybe they necessarily wanted to from a minutes perspective, from a ball handling perspective here. Stephon Castle has 20 turnovers through the first 2 games of this series. Steph Castle's going to need a bit of a reprieve here at some point. So I think the Harper hamstring is the more worrisome injury of the 2 from last night.
They match up so well. I mean, this feels like it's going to be a heavyweight fight. Hopefully we get 7 games, but the depth might be the most impressive thing that I've seen through 2 games with these 2 teams.
Yeah, the first quarter, 17 different players scored, which felt outrageous, but that's exactly what we were given. I don't know if these coaches were feeling one another out, but it felt as if coming off the double overtime game, I don't know if they had the same idea, but there were times you picked your head up, you looked at who was on the court, and you were like, now hold on a minute. Is this the Western Conference Finals, or is this one of those tank-off games? Is this Jazz Wizards here? There was a moment Oklahoma City's only starter was Lou Dort out there. Lou Dort, who, by the way, I can't even figure out what Lou Dort's workload is at all. As someone who, was able to hit a prop on him yesterday, I'm like, you know what? Got to win. We're not going back to that one, all right? 16 minutes for Lou Dort. I think the depth is incredibly impressive, Joe, but I think, for me at least, we look back to game number 1. The story of the game is Victor Wembanyama, rightfully so. But for me, I think in the same vein, SGA is the story of game number 2, right? Chet doesn't close the game. Jalen Williams is injured, and Shea is out. All of a sudden, Jared McCain's got a neon green light pulling from outer space, 4-14 shooting, who he is. SGA had to slam that door shut, and I thought he did it on both sides of the basketball. I think Shea deserves his, maybe not as much praise from, Wemby game 1. That was outrageous, but I thought Shea was spectacular last night.
And as you talk, Kevin, maybe the biggest winner could be the New York Knicks. You want to talk about a battle that goes 6 to 7 games, very physical with injuries and attrition, where the Knicks could have that delay, which brings us to the game tonight. Interesting scenario that sets up, Kevin, because a lot of people thought, okay, game number 1 in the Garden, I'm going to take the New York Knicks. They're rested. They blew out the Sixers when the Sixers just played a game number 7. Didn't go their way for most of the game until late in the fourth quarter into overtime when they started to pick on Harden. So my question to you is, how do teams react after we should have won game number 1, but we didn't? And is there an adrenaline dump that you have for the Cavaliers that they might just be out of gas and certainly not in the right headspace for game number 2?
Yeah, it's really tough, right? Because if you're Cleveland, how much are you trying to adjust? Do you think to yourselves, oh, we had this and we just have to stick to our principles, we got unlucky? I don't know, because obviously I thought the game was coached a bit stubbornly from Atkinson down the stretch there. For the Knicks on this 8-game winning streak, the last time they didn't cover was game 2 against Philadelphia. A win, but a non-cover. I think they won by 5 or 6 points ultimately in that game. So maybe this is a spot Cleveland could sneak up on New York. But I think if the Knicks can get their 3-point shooting going a little bit earlier, I know something I heard you talking about, Joe, that might swing. Like, I think if the Knicks are playing from in front here, I'm not sure Cleveland has what it takes to pull off any type of comparable comeback in the Garden.
Ticket count roughly 50-50, 6.5-point favorite for the Knicks. An 8 o'clock start. Get that pregame attention tonight on Game Time Decisions with Kevin and Gabe right here on the SportsGrid Network. Are you having fun, party people? Yeah, come on. Kevin Walsh, Game Time Decisions, him and Gabe tonight. The question's going to be, who are they going to talk more about, the big game in the Garden tonight or game number 1, Eastern Conference Finals, Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Montreal Canadiens? We'll find that later. Make sure you tune in at 6 p.m. Eastern. But We got other hot topics we got to get to today, which includes, Joe, underdog golf. How about this? Live Golf is moving forward with his plans to pitch. By the way, they should be pitching a new business model to potential investors and have already received significant interest here, per Mark Schlabach. This follows the recent reports. Let me understand this right now. They're about to go bankrupt right now. Golfers are leaving them to come back to the PGA Tour, but they're getting significant interest. And usually, Joe, I would say this is a bluff and this is a lie. But every time I see a stupid spring football league spring up, I tell you, you're going to lose all your money, go bankrupt, and they continue to have new iterations of these spring football leagues. So as much as I would laugh, like, you don't have any investors, there are stupid rich people with money to burn, and maybe they do, Joe. Maybe they do.
Isn't there now a professional flag football league, Donnie, that people just like, I mean, listen, there's like you said, a lot of people with a lot of money who have no idea what to do with themselves, and they'll invest in all of these stupid iterations of sports and versions of sport nobody wants just to make themselves feel good. I give up, Donnie. I really do.
It always happens here. You know what else we don't give up on, though? Asking the people, Joe, what they want. Fade the public poll coming at you now. Fade them, Joe, which, again, I don't think it actually counts my votes, and that's okay, because I want to say this right now. The Liberty minus 320, like I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just take the highest favorite on the board and say that's what I'm going to lay. It says 0%, Joe. I have a check mark next to my vote, and it says 0%. I don't understand what's going on here, but that's where I voted, Liberty minus 320, which apparently they told me, no, I can't vote for.
Why would they say no? I don't understand. Like, what's up with that? They just decided would they bounce your vote? And they were like, nope, sorry. No, it doesn't count. Doesn't count, Donnie. No. I'll be taking the Knicks. Yeah, I think the Knicks are the way to go. Now, I don't think the Knicks got the most votes on that, though, did they? Did they get the most votes?
People might be voting Knicks left and right, and then X is saying, like, you know, you're not allowed to vote for them. But apparently they're letting the Knick vote come in. They're letting the Hurricane vote in. But if you are picking the Diamondbacks or the Liberty, Joe, you're left out. They're not counting it here. The ballot box here, it's rigged at this point. But, you know, it's not rigged. Winning games with best bets here, Joe. Let's take it away with some bye. Joe's perfect on the week, 3-0. He's telling you right now where he's going with his best bet on the Thursday, Joe. The floor is yours.
Well, Donnie, I'm going to go to the association game 2 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I am going over 216.5 points. And listen, you just saw it last night, and the trends are very specific here. The game after an overtime game in the postseason, we saw it last night. What happened to that game? Went flying over the total. You know what's going to happen after tonight here in this game after the overtime win by the... It is going to go over this total. And I think the blueprint is simple, right? I mean, the Cavs, 53-point attempts in that game there. The Knicks scored 60 points in the paint alone. Both teams hit 55 free throws. So, yeah, the recipe is here, Donnie. The trends point towards an over. I think the Knicks are going to be much better from 3 in this game than they were 2 of 19, I think, in the first half in game 1. I think the rust is gone. Expect some wild shootouts here. And I think tonight, Donnie, is the way to look at. Just go over 216.5 and don't even sweat it.
And by the way, here, moving for me, I'm going to go with those Toronto Blue Jays, Joe. Ooh. Take a look at this. First 5 innings run line plus a half a run at a minus 110. And Carlos Rodon has only had a couple starts under his belt since coming back. His xFIP minus a little bit high at a 113. His ERA 5.63, but his Sierra number is 5.30. It's just a fade of Rodon here where have the lead for the Blue Jays at the end of 5. Fantastic. Be tied. Absolutely fantastic. Just don't be losing. So for me, Joe, I'm going Major League Baseball, little Blue Jays action on a slight fade of Rodon. You are going with your action, which means our action combined should go 2-0 as we roll it into a Friday, and you know that day is payday. Been crushing it on best bets. Let's continue the fun Coming up next year, Joe, you know what's coming up next? It's PME on TEL for the next half hour. Joe and Donnie right back at it.